So hey everyone, Rebel Black here from The Rural Woman, and welcome Donna. It's great to have you. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Donna, you're just at the end of the second time through the Enlivened Life program, and I really appreciate that you've agreed to have a chat with me today about your experience of the Enlivened Life program, so that other rural women might, learn a little bit more about what the program can offer them, and certainly be inspired by what it's been able to help you achieve in your life. So, what did you want to be different, when you first applied? What did you want to be different about your life when you started the program back in January? And do you think you've achieved what you were looking for?
I think one of the biggest problems was I didn't have any direction.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of in the business. I'd been in the business for a year, and it didn't seem to be going anywhere, lots of reasons. But I wasn't happy within myself. I wasn't happy with the direction I was going in the business, and I really wasn't sure where I was meant to be. And I guess the main reason I joined up with the program was to try and find direction in my own life.
Yep.
It almost like a last resort as far as the business was concerned, because I just had it. I was like pretty far down, pretty low, and wasn't sure where I was supposed to be.
Yep.
And I guess I was like grabbing a lifeline to try and sort of clarify things in my own mind.
Yes. And so from where you were then to where you are now, how different is that?
Like 300+%. And it's in so many different ways. I now have a plan. I mean, one of the things I guess was it's hard to steer when you're just standing still. It's hard to move a big ship. It's like now that I'm moving in a direction, it's much easier to steer where I want to be.
Yes.
And I've got a much more positive outlook on life, and I've got now a plan for where I want to be in a year, 2 years, 3 years time. And that's what I didn't have before. And yes, I'm still doing the same business, but I'm expanding into different areas.
Yeah.
But it's enabled me to see sort of the trees rather than the forest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've sort of been able to get away from the really big, scary picture down to a day-to-day thing, and it's certainly improved my outlook on life. My staff don't want to kill me, things like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm much more positive with myself, and I think that comes across in lots of what we do. Yeah, still not making a fortune yet. Still, some problems with the business are still there. Small country town, rural economy, but my attitude's changed.
Yes, yes.
And the direction and the clarification of just thinking things through.
Yep.
And having somebody who could make sense of the chaos.
Yes, yes. So is that how the intensive coaching support has helped you then? Like, is it that, because, we were talking weekly throughout the program, and others will experience a different level of intensity with fortnightly calls, but still it's that regular connection. So how did that help you achieve this sort of clarity and newfound direction?
The coolest thing is I could talk to you about whatever was in my head at the time.
Yep.
And as you well know, whatever's in my head at the time is somewhat scattered. And at the beginning, I wasn't even sure where I was going. The issues that I had at the beginning were like mere symptoms of what the real problem was.
Yes.
And so as I just dumped my brain on you, you were able to help me clarify and like throw away like the dross, so to speak, get rid of the crap.
Yep.
Is that, am I allowed to say that word? Get rid of that so that we could actually see what the real issues were.
Yes.
And of course the real issues were me, not all the things that I was like giving as excuses.
Yes.
It had to be a change within me and a realization of that I've got the power to change myself.
Yeah.
It's not a third party. It's not Rebel's not going to solve everything.
Yeah.
But what Rebel did is listen to all my stuff and help me sort of channel it in the right direction. See, I'm playing with my hands here. No one can see it. You can't see them, of course. Channel everything in the right direction to get to what the real issues were.
Yes.
And then once confronting those issues, and once we got those out from all the rubbish, then it's gone ahead in leaps and bounds, because it's been just that revealing of myself, which I couldn't have done without having somebody totally external to everything to talk to.
Yes.
Because everyone here knows me and knows is it involved in the situation, be it my partner, be it the people I work with, be it my friends in town.
Yep.
Whereas having somebody separate from it all who can be like neutral in that sense and not involved made it much, much easier for me.
Yeah.
And I could say what I liked.
And what you needed to say.
What I needed to say without worrying about what you would think,
yes,
so to speak, or what people would think. And I didn't have to put on any fronts or airs or graces or anything. I could just be my inner brat.
Yeah.
The drover's kid from, with all the faults and flaws, rather than have to be, the PhD student and the business person and all that serious stuff, which of course I'm not.
Yes.
I mean, I am, but I'm not.
So did you have any big aha moments or, even subtle shifts that have led to, kind of a flow-on effect throughout the program, Donna?
Probably the biggest one was when I realised after one of our talks that it didn't matter who I had been. It's who I am, and it's who I'm going to be. And that at the end of the day, I'm responsible for how I see myself. It doesn't matter what other people think.
Yes.
It's me. And if I have a positive outlook, if I see myself as being successful and all those things, that's all that matters.
Yep.
What other people see is their problem.
Yes, that's right.
And I don't need any longer to slouch and to hang my head and apologise for being Donna.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, Donna is who Donna is, and basically tough luck to everybody else.
I love that. That's just totally stepping into that that sense of self, who you are, showing up in the world, standing in full integrity within yourself, and that's what matters. That's amazing. So what was the biggest fear you had to overcome in even applying for the program and committing to it, Donna? Because it is a commitment.
Yep, money.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money.
Yep.
That was a big problem. And since one of my problems was I have too much debt, going into debt to pay for it was a big issue in my own brain.
Yes.
And also, I guess I didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that much about you or the program. I read a little bit, but it just seemed to be the right time and everything else for me to do something.
Yep.
Sorry. I shouldn't have done that in the room there. Yeah, things like that. And it was more, that was the problem.
Yes.
Is that I didn't know what to expect, where we were going. I wasn't sure that I'd actually even be able to open up and talk to you.
Yes.
Because I didn't actually know what the issue was. I just knew there was an issue.
Yes, that's right.
And so it's fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty, things like that. Plus, like I said, the money was a big issue.
But you took a leap of faith in yourself, Donna, and so was it worth it?
It was. I mean, then I took a second leap of faith and signed up for a second go.
Yes.
Because then I think towards the end of the first one, we were just starting to get to a place where I could actually then deal with the actual real issues.
Yep.
I think the first few weeks, the first month or so, was more me getting to trust.
Yes.
Not just you as a person, but to trust myself that what I was feeling and what I was saying was relevant and needed to be said.
Yes.
And that sort of thing.
Because it is a big investment in yourself, isn't it, Donna? So what would you say to somebody who was worrying about investing that much in themselves?
It's worth it.
Yep.
We can't invest too much in ourselves, really, because we can't do it on our own. Sometimes we get ourselves into, it's sort of like we're in the well, and all we can see around us is the walls and the tiny pretty light at the top. We need someone to drag us out of that well and let us see that there's a big world out there, a bigger picture. Because it's just so easy for us to get stuck in a rut in our heads and inside and in our businesses and not actually see that maybe that isn't where we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Maybe the dissatisfaction and everything we're feeling and the depression and everything else is because we're trying to fit ourselves into a hole that isn't our size.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to fit myself into a shape that isn't Donna shaped.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And through it all, I've realised where I guess my heart was telling me I wanted to be and where my head was telling me weren't necessarily the same.
Yes. And so do you feel more alignment there then with what your heart and your head are, communicating now?
I do, and I feel like I've made the right decisions, and even though they may be way out left field for what's me, for what I would have thought was me, they just fit.
Yes.
Like I'm fitting into the shape a lot better now.
Yeah. So the shape hasn't necessarily changed, but the way you feel about the shape has.
Yeah, it's my perception has changed.
Yeah.
So there's still that Donna-shaped hole.
Yeah.
But now Donna actually fits that hole.
Yeah, and you're enjoying
when I was
fitting
perceiving
it.
the hole, I didn't see myself in fitting it.
No, that's such a good analogy. It's so good to be able to see that the shape doesn't change, but that your ownership of the shape, you know, is what adjusts. That you just feel like you fit there now instead of feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I think it's rubbed off because as I've become more positive and more aligned with where I'm supposed to be, everything's more falling into place. You know, as I'm being nicer, people are being nicer back.
Yes.
Because I'm not being grouchy, you know. And people have moved on from my life who I didn't need, who were issues for me.
Yep.
But then other people have moved in who fit better in with where I should be.
Yes. Yes.
You know, just on a really day-to-day basis with staff and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So, Donna,
just working.
What areas of your life do you think have been most positively impacted as a result of being part of the Enlivened Life program?
It'd be more like saying which part of my lives haven't been.
Yes.
Would be a better way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of hard to sort of pick a part of my life because we're all part of a whole. It's a holistic thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the correct word. We're holistic. We're not just, you know, I guess I had my business life here, my study life here, my farm life here, my husband here, my friends here. But that's not what it is.
Yeah.
Everything is intertwined. It's like weaving.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big picture thing. And I guess the big picture's changed. Yes. And because my outlook and my faith in myself and my acceptance of myself, warts and all, has influenced every part of that life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's influenced the things that I'm doing, the friends that I'm making, the people I'm attracting to me, my attitude. Because my attitude has changed and become much more positive and much more aligned, every area of my life's affected.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. And you know what I love? I think the journey that you've taken, for me, you were always a positive person. You know, when we first started working together, you struck me as a positive person. In fact, everybody does. You know, all the Enlivened Life participants in the outer world, we're all positive people, but it's the misalignment. So it's like this veneer of positivity rather than genuine positivity. And I think that's what I've noticed in you is that shift around positiveness now is that it emanates from within you rather than it being kind of a mask you might wear.
Yeah, because that's what we do. We just put on a face for each of our facets of ourselves to everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like this mask we wear depending on who we're talking to and what we're doing.
Yes. Whereas now you just have full integrity in everything and it's just, you are genuinely, you know, Donna Burton is genuinely a positive person from the inside, not because she has to be.
Yeah, so the Pollyanna is actually real from the inside out, not just me being a Pollyanna because that suits what I think I should be. Yes,
exactly. So can you give a specific example, Donna, maybe of an area of your life that's sort of vastly different? I mean, obviously the business is, you know, you're taking some new directions which are really exciting and quite different, but are there any other examples?
I think because I've always wanted to help people, I've just never known how.
Yep. And
I've probably missteered that into helping, like feeling that when everyone jumped up in front of me, for example, like the older lady who we were talking about at the beginning, who was here all the time and I felt I owed her and needed to help her. But that was just draining me and stressing me and everything else.
Yeah.
I guess I've now worked out how to align my need to help people and my desire to help people with what I'm doing.
Yes.
Rather than feeling that I have to help everybody, I can now sort of see how I can do that as part of the overall thing. It's now much more natural, a much more integrated part of me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not now looking, I've got to help that person, you know. It's more, it just happens.
Yes.
It's a way I see things, the way I look at things has changed.
So it's not a guilt thing or an obligation thing. It's a genuine desire to help. But it feeds you instead of depletes you.
Yeah, I'm not stressed anymore about it all. I can see where I'm going.
Yes, that's awesome. So would you recommend Enlivened Life to other rural women, and if so, why?
300%.
Yes.
Because the one thing that we don't have as rural women is we don't have the facilities and the things and the networking and all the other stuff that you do if you live in a city or a big major town.
Yeah.
We just don't have that. We don't. Yeah, we have our friends and we have the old-fashioned go and have a cup of tea, but our friends are often in the same headspace we are.
Yes. Yeah.
And they don't sort of. It's a way of getting involved and realizing you're not Robinson Crusoe.
Yeah.
You're not the only person going through this. And like the phone calls we have, the website, the forums, the Facebook, just knowing that, hey, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're part of this whole big rural community.
Yeah.
And the issues that you're having, other people are having too.
Yes.
And it just makes it so much easier to do that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think the program's awesome, because it allows you to talk to others and to get to meet other people who you'd never meet otherwise,
yes.
even if it's in a virtual sense,
yeah.
Who have the same issues. And some of the things that I'm learning and sharing on the Facebook page with these ladies who I've never even met
yeah.
are incredible, because
yeah.
you suddenly realise I'm not the only one who just want to get out of bed and do exercise.
Yeah.
On a really silly level, you know,
yeah. No,
on a really low level like that, or our businesses and our families. And then you also see other people's issues and realise, well, goodness gracious, my issues are, you know, what am I kicking myself for today?
Yeah.
You know, other people are doing it a lot harder.
Yeah.
But it's that whole encouragement and that whole feeling of community, and spending time and money on yourself, investing in yourself. You know, it's not a luxury. It's not a bad thing. It's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Whereas we're all brought up to think we've got to give to others.
Yes.
Whereas the investment in the time and the money and the effort, because there's a lot of work involved. I mean,
yeah.
your homework isn't always easy. Emotionally,
no, that's right.
The emotional commitment is a big commitment.
Yeah.
But, you know, at first you feel kind of bad because you're spending this on yourself.
Yes.
You know, you have that guilt thing. You should be, all these other things I could be spending the money on, or the time or the effort and everything else. But it's if we don't invest in ourselves, then how can we do anything?
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's a good thing. It's a way of helping us to grow, to actually see ourselves and to spoil ourselves.
Yeah. Even
though at times it doesn't feel very spoiling, very positive.
But
because you've got to bring out you do have to bring out some bad stuff to grow.
If you're saying, you know, now when we first started working together, you used to feel depleted when you were giving to people, but now you feel, you know, excited and energized when you're giving to people, then the only way that you've achieved that is by giving to yourself.
Yeah,
isn't
exactly.
it? Like that you know, that's the difference between where you were when we started and where you are now, is that the major change is that you invested in yourself, that you genuinely gave to yourself.
Yeah, January when we first started, I'm a totally different person than I was in January when we started.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I continued on in the second half.
Yeah.
Because I realised there was still some growing to do, and yes, I could have done it, but it's like being, I think I said to you the other day, it's like being in a hothouse.
Yes.
You're sort of forced to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
In this environment where everything is sort of around you.
Yeah.
And it just means, I mean, yeah, I could have taken 5 years to get to where I am.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I would have got hurt a lot, and I would have hurt myself a lot and hurt other people around me. And you can't undo some of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, whereas being part of the program has meant that I've been able to deal with those things a lot quicker, a lot easier, but have the support there.
Yes.
So you've been there, the other people in the group have been there.
Yep.
And I just can't believe the difference in me from January till now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if you could use one word then, Donna, to describe your experience of the program, do you have one?
Other than awesome? Which isn't a really good word.
Awesome's a great word.
I think the whole Enlivened thing is probably, that really sums it all up.
Yeah.
It's empowered maybe.
Yes.
I think empowered's a good word.
Yeah. And what words would you use to describe yourself that you wouldn't have used, you know, last year?
I think empowered.
Yes.
I think that word, empowered.
Yeah.
Because I now believe I can do these things.
Yes. Yes.
And I don't think yeah, I would not be doing what I'm doing now. Couldn't even conceive it 6 months ago.
Yep. Yep. And yet it's bringing you so much joy and so much pleasure and excitement.
I'm actually having fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. When we first met, it was like you were in business because you had to be, and that it wasn't, that it wasn't.
Well, I've got to earn a living, yeah.
You've got to make money. That's right.
My business is my job. I have to earn money to pay the bills.
Whereas now for you, there's just so much pleasure and joy sitting around that. Thank you so much, Donna, for joining me today and for the journey that we've shared together through Enlivened Life, and for sharing that journey so honestly and vulnerably with the listeners today. And look out, world. Here comes Donna.
Exactly. And thanks, Rebel.